So that is what, and we have already, and in the next sutra we did prana samachare samadarshanam. Prana samachare. When you start extending this pranavayu, so you are established there, you are able to meditate single pointedly. Remember, this is non-dualism. So you are not looking for a deity or a god outside of you. You are essentially meditating on yourself as Paramashiva. Shiva here is not Shiva Linga. Shiva here is supreme consciousness, which outwardly manifests as the sansara. That supreme consciousness, with its own Vimarsha Shakti, has spread itself around, and this is essentially a picturesque projection of his Swatantra Ichha Shakti, as a result of which we are caught up in these multiple realities which appear as foundationally real. Reality, we don't have a problem. We also say, yes, I saw a cat in my dream. There is some reference to something that you saw. That means there is something, some jnana pradartha. There is some objective reality. It's a very subtle one. So there is some knowledge activity happening even in dream state. Some perceptual understanding is emerging in your mind. And again, that is being stored as memory, that I had seen this. So you can say there is some cognitive activity happening. However, what you are using to produce this cognitive activity has no reality fundamentally, and that we can extend to our waking state. Much of what happens around us has no foundational reality, has no paramarthika satyata. That is what Vedanta says, also Shiva Sutra says. Therefore, he's saying prana samachare samadarshanam. Earlier, the Sutrakara had advised us, you go and establish yourself in the Turyananda Avastha, the fourth state. What are the three states? Jagrata, Swapna, and Sushupti. And Panchokoshatitah avastatraya sakshi, that is Atma and Chaitanya. So you have waking state and dream state and deep sleep state, but these states are not you. You have certain vision of who you are in a waking state. You are eating, you're going to office, you're coming, you're studying, you're meditating. In dream, you're seeing some certain other things. And deep sleep, you are not experiencing anything except a happy sleep. You are there, therefore you're experiencing. You cannot say you didn't exist in deep sleep. But Abhastatraya Shakshi, that particular Chaitanya, which is a witness of these three states, that is that Shiva thing. Or Advaita Vedanta would say it's Atma, Pratyak Chaitanya, language differs. And as I have explained to you, the Kashmiri Shaivism, Trikadarshana, is Swatantriyavada. And other things are Vivartavada. In Advaita Vedanta, everything is a projection, it's nothing real. It's like a holographic reality. Whereas in Kashmiri Shaivism, no, God has supreme power, He is Swatantra, He has that unimaginable sovereignty, and He can manifest anything He wants. And then you deal with it, make use of this manifestation to reunite with that supreme consciousness instead of either fighting with this manifest reality, which a lot of us do, or blindly trying to imagine you have catapulted yourself into that supreme consciousness, which is again some kind of a act of cheating, because you don't reach there in that method unless you slowly transform yourself. That is why we are in Anavopaya. We have to work in our everyday lives. Prana samachare samadarshanam. Earlier we had mentioned that the person who goes to that deep meditation state, he brings out that anandaika rasha. That's, you are in very deep, very lovely concentration. And then there is a phone call, and you are rushing to your office, you are meeting friends, your wife shouts, or your son demands something. You are distracted. So then you are back to zero. What they had advised? No, you don't have to be back to zero. You take this Shiva consciousness in your deep samadhi state and sprinkle this Shiva consciousness, which is essentially self consciousness, at a very higher level or highest level of your meditation. Sprinkle your other states with that supreme samadhi avastha consciousness. The nectar, the elixir that you experience, that you get, that you obtain in that deep state, sprinkle that energy in other states. extend that truth to other states. So the truth that you realize in your deep meditation state during your Bhuthana Avastha means during your activity state where there is prana sansara, you are activating yourself to do something cognitively, emotionally. Then you permeate all other states, Jagrata, Shopna, and Sushupti. Now you might ask me that in dream state we have no control over what we dream. How do I sprinkle my dreams with Shiva consciousness? You try, you will be able to do it. So, in our dream states, when slowly our sadhana is intense, even in Jagrata Avastha, in dream state, you would find there is some sort of a situation. The sadhaka self will wake up in that dream and you will say, yeah, this is happening. But sometimes in your dream, you say that, yes, I see this, but it's not real, it's a dream. By the way, I'm meditating on the self. This is not real, this is a dream. Because it gets into a hard disk and starts influencing your experimental experiences in your dream state. That is the beauty of it. And in Sushupti, you have no control because there is no pramata in a definite sense. The knowing self doesn't even exist in a definite sense in the deep sleep state, but that also goes into that unconscious state. That divinity that you connect with in the Jagrata Avastha, in the Samadhi Avastha, during the multiple realities you deal with in your Jagrat Avastha or waking state, this divinity will permeate them. You'll sprinkle divinity on these states, and it will slowly trickle down even to the deepest state of your not knowing anything in the deep sleep state. So, unified way you are experiencing divinity round the clock, extensively in Samadhi Dasa, but also in other states, you have the same Shiva consciousness that we have done. Therefore, he's saying Prana Samachare Samadarshanam. That is how he has that universal focus on the Shiva Tattva, even on other states. That is the phala of your sadhana. Let's imagine you are not being able to establish yourself in that highest state. What happens to you? That is a question which is coming in your mind. This he is explaining in the Sutra number 23rd, Madhye Avara Prashavaha. Now, this has been interpreted by different people in different ways, but we will try to take the Laukika Vyavaharika Udaharana or Drishtanta to make sense of it. When you start preparation for anything, you will see that it's universal. Madhya means in the middle, Avara Prashava. Avara means Asreshta, not the ultimate thing. Prashava means birth, Janma. So instead of having that perfect Shiva consciousness taking shape in you, you are being able to connect with that divinity. In the middle, you will have an inferior state which you will experience. Why that? Give me that tape. The kitchen sink is kind of leaking. I'll just close it and come back. Give me 1 second. That is the beauty of it, that when you are actually thinking about Paramashiva, he immediately sort of, that whole thing, you are put to test, and there is some kind of a distraction and how you deal with it and how to return. So this Madhya Avara Prashavaha. Generally, just imagine when you remember your school days, you would find that one examination is declared, or you are applying for a position, or you're writing a research paper. So you will go to the library, you will collect your material, you have a lot of seriousness, okay? And then you are very serious in your preparation for that research paper, okay? Or that particular project will continue. And you'd find that suddenly some complacent, some sort of a feeling of, I'm in control of it. It creeps into your consciousness in the middle. And sometimes you are stuck there and you're just killing a lot of time. Imagine you have to write about 10 pages. So you are through with about 6 pages. Another few pages, I'll do it. And you kill a couple of weeks. Then you realize deadline is coming. Then again become very serious. and you achieve it. Always there's some sort of a stalemate sort of experience in the middle of many things. You would find that if you look at other people, even let's look at people and their marriage relationships. There's a lot of warmth and cooperation and everything in the beginning of the marriage. And similarly, when children have grown up and they have gone, the old couple, they again become extremely kind, compassionate, and helpful towards each other, no arguments. In the middle, there is a lot of some sort of a divergence, some sort of a, what do you call it? Some kind of a indifference, so to say. There is control, there is a privileged position, but there's a bit of an indifference. That particular thing, that higher state is not being experienced. That also applies to our sadhana life. It's very interesting. So let's see how he's explaining. So we'll go to the last commentary, which also includes the commentary of Kshamaraja Shiva Sutra Vimarshani. We'll come back to Shiva Sutra, but we'll just first read it because it's very extensive. Yada yogi antarika turyavalambana taha parava shanti labhye turyatita pade na eva samahito bhavati. So he sits in meditation, yada yogi, when the yogi, antarika turyavalambanataha, that intense internal reflection of that fourth state. Turiya means fourth. Turiya means nothing else. O, U, Ma, Omkara. The Turyavastha, he's in Turyavastha, means beyond this Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti. In Om, O is Jagrata, U is Swapna, Ma is Susupti, and Turyavastha. As I have told you that in Shiva Sutra, they go beyond Turyatita Avastha, they go till seventh stage. So you have Turya and Turyatita. Here he is saying that Turyatita Avastha, that is the complete Samatva. Shiva Sakti, there is no non-duality, absolute oneness. The yogina, he is not being able to antarika turyabalambanataha parama shanti labhye turyatita pade. He is not being able to establish himself in that turyatita, means fifth state. Na eva samahito bhavati, he is not being able to become samahita, means he cannot enter that deep state of samadhi, deepest state of samadhi. Pratyuta, however, पूर्वापर कोटि संवेद्य तूर्य चमत्कार मात्र एव संतुष्ट जायते. He has already reached that fourth stage, so he is releasing. He's pretty happy. He's like a guy who's made a lot of money and name and fame, but he's not gone to the top level. But he's pretty happy. A lot of people are very contented in life, so he's happy there. Tada asya, then of that guy, madhya avara prashabha. This sutra applies to him. Aseshtatva, he experienced. That is not the ultimate, but he thinks this is good enough for me. And that will stick to him. That means it will become a constraint on him. That's what he's explaining. Purvashyam aparashyam koto, between the first and the third stage, where actually a person is very well established in that turyavastha, turya chamatkara, praptavatah yoginaha. In the first stage and the third stage is very quick. Like, for example, in Jagrat Avastha, you are in meditation. Do you have any distraction? No. In Susupti state, that means in deep sleep, do you have any distraction? No. Because the cognitive self has gone to sleep. It is there. It is there as a sakshi, as a witness. Therefore, when we wake up, we say, I had a wonderful sleep. The witness self was present, but it was not doing any cognitive activity. Why? The Vijnanamaya kosha also is asleep. Manomaya kosha is also asleep. Mana buddhi both are asleep. Pranamaya kosha is asleep. Prana sancharana is going on, but that pranamaya, you're not doing any dynamic movement in the body. Unconsciously something is happening. Annamaya kosha is asleep. All of them are at rest. So there is no activity of these koshas. The Anandamaya kosha is just the Karana Sarira is experiencing bliss as a witness. It's not that it is tasting coffee or tea or any kind of pudding or anything. No, it's experiencing happiness directly without any medium, without any instrumentality, directly experiencing as a witness. So in the middle, however, in the Swapnavastha, you can have Viparjaya. You may be preparing for a very important interview the next day. You prepared for it. You made your PowerPoint presentation. And then you went to sleep. In the sleep, actually, you're watching a match of some World Cup, which you had seen much earlier, Argentina versus Brazil, and you are encouraging either of these sides, and you are anxious. You have absolutely no idea about your presentation next day. And then your sleep breaks, since you what the hell is going on? You go back to your study table, right? So in the middle, that dream state, he's saying what happens? Asreshto byuthanatma kuchitah sarga apatet. So purvashyam aparashyam koto churya chamatkara praptavatah. The person who is able to establish himself in that turya chaturtha chamatkara praptavatah, the magical experience of oneness in the fourth stage, in both the preliminary in the end point, yoginaha, of that yogi, madhya dasayam eva, in the middle state, avaraha. Avaraha means astreshta. Para avara. Para is ultimate. Para apara. Apara is near, para is far. Gross, subtle. In different ways, you can make sense of it. Astreshta vyuthanatma kutsita sarga apatet. So you will have some sort of a distracted state of your activities, of your mind, where you're connecting with the external world. Asya avara प्रसवो भेद प्रथात्मा मध्य दशायाम एव जायते न तो सर्वत्र. This particular dualistic mental activity or mind self, it is a mind self and it is dualistic in nature. I and this. In that ultimate stage, I have told you, you have samana and unumana stage. Samana stage is you are deeply, you have atma vyapti. You are in a deep state of meditation, but as yourself means a limited individual. Shiva Vyapti, that I am meditating is gone. Everything becomes Paramashiva. That is that universal consciousness. And we keep repeating this in this particular prakarana, that individual can never get liberation. Individual can never be perfectly wise. Only the universal self is perfectly wise and perfectly liberated. So what is the answer to our problem? The problem is to go identify with the universal, so you get realized, you get liberated as part of the universal, which is our Swarupa, which is our reality. So far, we continue to see ourselves as an individual. We will be suffering the constraints associated with the restrictions and the limitations of consciousness at an individual level. So far, the water drop thinks I'm a water drop. It'll have anxieties of getting evaporated. It'll have anxieties of being relegated from attention. When that drop thinks I'm the ocean, all anxieties are gone. The water drop is not liberated. The water drop is only liberated full and final as the ocean, not as a water drop. So, as when we get rid of that limited consciousness in us, either through meditation or through vichara, here it's a mixture of both meditation and vichara. Jnanatmika dhyana, asya avara prasava bheda prathatma madhya dasayam eva jayate, na to sarvatra. Because in the beginning and the end, you are finding it easier to be in that turyavastha, like in the course of preparing a paper. Yada tu paramatatva jnanatmikayaha vidyayaha samuthanam na bhavati. Paramatatva jnanatmikayaha, you have to break this word. Paramatatva is Shiva Tattva, the ultimate universal consciousness. Parava Tattva Jnanatmikayaha. This state is a state of awareness. It is not an objective thing. It's not a material reality. Jnanatmika. And what is Atmika? Atmika means Swarupa. Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Brahma. So, Chaitanya, this particular thing, the Brahman, is Jnana Swarupa. It's not a physical object. Brahma is not a physical object. It's Jnana Swarupa. Where there is no knower, there is no knowing, there is no known. All these three aspects of jnana, they get dissolved into pure awareness, so there is no duality, only Brahman. Similarly, here it's only Paramasha. Paramatatva, jnanatmikayaha vidyayaha. That is this vidya, jnana, that sadhana. Samuthanam na bhavati, and he's not being able to enter into that samadhi state. Then what happens? Tada, then dvaita bhavana, bhavitasya prapanchasya darshanam bhavati. When you are in that deep state, you experience the Shiva Tattva, the Paramashatya thing. In fact, you are no more aware of yourself. You are not aware of yourself as a human being, as a man or woman, man or woman or boy or girl, anything. The details are gone. The universal consciousness takes possession of you, and you are free because there's no limitation. If we are not being able to reach there, then what happens? We will see around, feel around. That means our mind will be externally oriented. And the external reality for us is essentially a misleading statement about what is the ultimate truth. It's a misleading statement. It deludes us. The details will delude us. Prapanchasya, prapancha iti sansara darshana bhavati. Tasmad, therefore, yogi sambit rupa vidya tattve nirantaram avahito sanjayate. Sambit rupa vidya tattve. Remember this. He is not falling down to become any other guy. Vidya sanghare tadutta swapna darshanam. We have done that 12th, 10th sutra of the previous chapter. Vidya sanghare. अपने ध्यान प्रार्थना किया, पढ़ाई छोड़ दिया. Tadutta swapna darshanam. Again, you will be delving into the dream state of life, which is normal. All materialistic people, they're chasing a lot of things which have no reality. That is what is called tadutta, born out of this particular distraction. Swapna darshanam, this kind of drama, this whole magical drama thing you consider as real, and you're running after. A lot of people are busy doing this, and you don't know. If you don't join them, they think you are crazy. Usko kuch depression, and there is some family problem. Why is he always looking through the window? His wife must have shouted at him. Other people will also make your life miserable, and you believe them. So you go down to their level, and they are happy, and you are happy or unhappy. You are part of the game, and then you think that is normal. That is how you console yourself. But he is saying this guy is not going to that level. He has established himself in Shiva consciousness in the beginning and the end. In the middle, there is a bit of a distraction. Doesn't mean he's falling to the ground. He's staying in a certain state. That is what he's mentioning. तस्मा योगी संविद्रुव विद्यात्वते निरंतरम अवहितो संजायते अनेन प्रकारेण स सदा न व्यामुष्यति. He is not getting deluded, bimohana. He is not becoming bimohita by the sansar. No, that he will not do. So the difference is that there is a sansari, and you have friends, that two friends you have. One friend, absolutely no sadhana. The other friend is into spiritual sadhana. Okay, so the guy who has stopped doing spiritual sadhana, he'll be running around, and all old friends of our psychic self, old friends means old sanskaras, all bad, stupid, funny things that you did and considered interesting as a student or during your early life or whatever, or middle life or whatever, you will go and reconnect with them. They will come, and one phone call and you reconnected. We're going to have a picnic. Are you going to join? So they'll take you, and you'll have food and booze and stuff like that. Reconnect with old sanskaras, and that will you'll consider to be the new normal. It's perfect. It's familiar. Whatever is familiar zone of your activity, it gives you confidence because you have handled this. Why did you leave it? Why did you start doing sadhana? Because that was uncomfortable. You had not been able to continue with it, so you had left it to come to this higher state. Now you stop it, you'll go back there. Initially, it will also feel a little comfortable. After some time, again, you will feel depressed, and you will again start sadhana. But in between, you will have a tadutta swapna darshanam. But the other friend of yours who has not completely stopped sadhana, he's doing his sadhana, is not being able to go to the ultimate stage. So when a phone call goes to him, we're going to go on a picnic, are you going to join? He would immediately say, no, I have some work. He's not going to go below a certain threshold. His mind mechanically is able to discriminate what to do, what not to do. Remember, he's a sadhak. So there is a minimum condition he fulfills of spiritual sadhana. He's not being able to go to the ultimate stage. Doesn't mean he becomes a poor person. He's like a middle class person. He has a few, what do you call it? Monthly payments to do. Okay? EMIs he has to pay. There is some anxiety associated with that. But he's not a poor person. Similarly, the sadhaka who is doing his sadhana, there is a bit of distraction, so he may not be able to experience that wonderful thing which his guru experiences. But he is not a pauper spiritually. Therefore, he is saying, Tathacha Ukta Sri Malini Vijay Uttara Tantre. Basana Matra Labhepi Yo Pramatto Najayate. Basana Matra Labhepi. Basana Matra. Basana is what? A lot of people always confuse this with desire. Vasana is not desire. Vasana is whatever is sitting in you, vas dhatu. That is vasana. That means encrypted impressions of your past sanskaras lying in you. That is vasana. So vasana is essentially an impression. Vasana matra labhepi is interpreted by different commentators in different ways, but I found it's very innovative the way Lakshman Juji is trying to make sense of it. He's saying vasana matra labhepi means that you are a serious sadhaka. Okay. So you have your evening pujas and you have to do your meditation and stuff like that. But somebody, a friend of yours, daughter is getting married. So all your friends are expecting you to go there. So certain kind of moral, social, emotional responsibilities which you have to show towards your daughter, your son, your wife, your brother, your sister. And because of these impressions which are lying deep within you, when they germinate again, then you are not being able to transit or transcend to the highest level of meditation. That is how he's making sense of it. To me, perhaps that is, I mean, I will not be able to comment on it, but I personally looked at the commentary of other people who are more straightforward because api, vasana matra labhe pi, labhe api, that means is a positive thing. And what is the vasana is talking about? To me, this is very accurate. So imagine that you are 4 or 5 college friends, you remember your student days. One of them visits a top research institute and he goes to that laboratory where all instruments are available and there's a group of young scientists and working on a top thing. And then he has already seen that. And because he has already seen that, he wants to connect with that reality. He has visited that laboratory and he has absolutely no confusion. Okay. Now, because he has seen that reality, when he comes back to college, he comes back, vacations are over. During the vacation, he has gone to that Cavendish lab or CAT lab, some top laboratory he had gone, and he met some scientists. He comes back, and people are now preparing. They will do management, they will do this, that. He will not be distracted. Why? Because he has seen that there is a higher level, and therefore he is not going to go below where he is. He may stop there, but he will continue to do whatever research he is doing. He'll like to go there. He's not being able to go there. He postpones that aspirational goal, doesn't remove it from your consciousness. So somebody was a very spiritual guy. So there were 2 friends. One of them gets married. He has a sansara because of whatever factor, mother not well, or maybe he was having a respectful relationship with a friend and he valued the relationship. Either of these conditions, he gets married. The other friend didn't marry. But both of them were doing sadhana, and he was perhaps as good as the other one. The other one goes there. He may be having avara prashabha. He may be stuck in the middle, even after sannyasa. But this guy may be having a family and social life and family life, other things. But he has not removed that aspiration from him. That I also want to reunite with that ultimate divine self, with which I was negotiating terms of entry as a young guy. He retains, he does sadhana, but remember, he remains in that intermediate stage. There is some bhuthana, there is some external orientedness, but he stays in connection with the divinity. He doesn't renounce it. He doesn't forsake it. That's what he's mentioning. That this guy, Madhya Avara Prashavaha, 23rd Sutra, is saying Madhya in that middle stage, you become asreshta. You are not in the ultimate state. Doesn't mean you are on the ground. You are not completely lost in dualities of life. Therefore, he's saying, Sanjayata anena prakarana sa sada na vyamuhyati. You're not bimohita. You're not deluded. You have insight. You are an insightful person. However, you have assumed a few responsibilities which demands a certain external orientation, but your inward operating system, OS, is intact. So you have opened a few windows and it's not kind of nullifying the whole OS that you have as a spiritual person. Madhya avara prashavaha tatha choktam malini hridaya vichare vasana matra labhepi yo pramattah na jayate yaha apramattah. That means Pramadarahitah, that means samadhistah. He's not being able to establish himself in that ultimate stage of samadhi. Tam anityeshu bhogeshu yojayanti vinayakah. That kind of a guy who is not going to that ultimate stage. So, you know what? There are two students. Again, I'm giving this example. One, they both are doing PhD. One guy focused and submitted his thesis. Then what he does postdoctoral. In postdoctoral, you don't have any guide. You have your topic, they'll give you some money, you'll be working for some time. In PhD, what happens? You have a guide. So you are not submitting your thesis. Your guide knows this guy is pretty good. Then what is he going to do? He'll make use of you to produce many papers where he's a co-author. He will extend his publications. That means you will get some name and fame there without a PhD degree, but you are getting a lot of conference at invites, and then you're going everywhere with your professor, stuff like that, and you're enjoying it. Something like that. He's saying, Tam anityeshu bhogeshu yojayanti vinayakaha. The Vinayaka word is who are giving you some siddhi, but these siddhis are actually vigna dayakaha. They'll give you, like in Yoga Sutra, you have these siddhis, and Patanjali advises, like Pratibha, Sravana. There are many siddhis that come to you, and the Ashta siddhis are there. So you'll be able to remember very quickly. You'll be able to hear things which are not physically available to you. From a long distance, you can hear. You can feel the presence of a person beyond a certain wall. Who is there? You can know, sitting inside your room. These siddhis will come to you, but these are considered pratibandhakas. They are essentially obstructions. So any meditation, any sadhana you do, siddhis will come. And the intelligent guru always, he says, Swamiji, I saw this. Guruji, he will always discourage you. He knows this boy is about to get distracted and he will not be able to go forward. You think he is underestimating your success in sadhana. No. He is recognizing your sadhana. He wants you to jump to the next level. So he knows that you are getting a little enamored by low level realizations, not to be distracted by. Therefore, he is saying, Iti anityeshu bhogeshu yojayanti vinayakaha tasmanna tesu sansaktihi sasanktim. Therefore, you should never have any asakti, samyak asakti in them. Kurvita uttama vanchaya. If you have a strong desire in you to elevate yourself to the next level, don't you ever get distracted. Many of these people, I have seen quite a few, like for example, now in the Advaita Vedanta, so you have a lot of ashrams and a lot of satsang groups have come up in US, in Silicon Valley. And I've seen some of them who come here, and amazing characters. They are computer engineers, but they have studied a lot of Sanskrit and they study Vedanta very seriously. And I asked one of them, how do you manage? As I was telling you, one is a professor in the University of New Jersey. He and his wife, and the serious Vedanta teachers and practitioners, and their children. I said, what about, how do you connect with your children? He said, no, our children are much more Vedantis than us, because that is how we do our celebration. Birthday party is reading a chapter of Upanishad. Birthday party is not about food and cake and this and that. We will be getting together. There'll be prasad in the end, but we'll be reading some Prakarana Grantha, one chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and then discussing it. And that is how is a marriage party, a birthday party. You always have Swadhyaya as a part of it. That is sprinkling Shiva consciousness in all other activities that you have. We'll go to the next sutra when it comes there. So, and he's saying, Arthat, therefore, Satchidananda, Ghana Chamatkara, Rasamrita Aswadane, Samadhana Sanskarasya Upalabdhu, Pramadyato, Mahyasyadivihi, Bignadvihi, Siddhesha, Kshanabhangura Bhugya Vadartheshu, Pralobhanavasad, Turyatita Pade Samarudhaya Yogina Teshu, Kasyam api avasthitam pritihi na eva kartavya. So what is he saying? Arthat, therefore, Satchidananda Ghana Chamatkara Rasanamrita Aswadane. If you are interested in experiencing the ultimate bliss of united with the Shiva consciousness, if that is your goal, Samadhana Sanskarasya Upalabdhu. And how that is going to happen? You have to have Samadhana Sanskara, means you have to enter into that Samadhi Avastha. Upalabdhu, you want to have the upalabdhi of that Samadhana Avastha. Pramadyata mahesyadhivi, then you did some pramada. You have some dualism, some distraction. Avara prashavaha, that intermediate state of spiritual happiness. Then what happens? Mahesyadhivi, Mahesha, son of Mahesha, Lord Shiva, Vinayaka, Vignadvihi, and these are distractions, Siddhesha, and they'll give you a lot of siddhis, these are siddhas. Kshanabhangura bhogya padartheshu, Kshanabhangura, somebody will touch your feet, somebody will make a donation to you, somebody will call you to give a talk, somebody will say, what meditation you do, it's amazing. And then house and car and a lot of things come to these spiritual sadhakas. Kshanabhangura bhogya padartheshu pralobhanavasat. What would be? It would be nice to have that. Idam meshad, idam mesha. Why shouldn't that be mine? The moment you do this, pralobhanavasat, turyati de padarthe samarudhaya yogina. If you want to establish yourself in the turyati avastha, samarudhaya, if that's your goal, yogina teshu kashyamapi avasthayam priti na eva kartavya, then you should not ever have any liking, any desire, any inclination, any affiliation, whatever. Even a minutest desire to experience what is that, the yogi shouldn't have. No eva kartabhya, he should not do it. Ataha swaswarupa viviktaye nirantaram prayatnam kartabhyam. Swaswarupa, your swarupa is different from all this, and you want to isolate yourself, protect yourself. To start with quarantine, and then you will be immersed in yourself. Prayatnam kartabhyam, that's what you should do. Ataha satatam yudyuktaha spanda tattva viviktaye. In the Spanda Sutras, Spanda Karigas is saying, Ataha satatam yudyuktaha, again and again. Nirantara, satata means nirantara, all the time. Spanda tattva viviktaye, what is that ultimate reality, the dynamics, pulsating reality of Shiva Tattva you should be trying to experience. Ityadena spande nirupitam. This is how it comes to the end. Interestingly, it covers what we read, has completely sort of completed more or less everything. Purvapara kotyoho turya rasa aswadayatah. The whole person who is getting stuck in that fourth state, madhya dasayam avaraha asreshtaha. Avara means asreshta, prashavo vyuthanatma kushita sargo jayati. He's using the word kutsita. It's not something to relish, to respect, something from the higher state. You see, so somebody buys us USB in India, pays about 10-15 lakhs, he buys a car, and then somebody has a BMW, or you have something interesting, Jaguar, you pay about 5 million, 6 million, 8 million, maybe a crore in Indian rupees or more. For him, your SUV, which is very exciting for you because you had a small car, for you it's very good. For him, no, he'll not even get into that car. So this kutsita sarva doesn't mean this avara prashava ashreshta avastha is like the minimum avastha. No. Compared to the highest level, he's using the word kutsitaha sargo jayate. This is what gets created. Natu vidya sanghare tadutta swapna darshanam. The 10th sutra of the Shaktopaya. No, he's not going to that delusional state. Ityukta sutrasa nityasada bhamyuhat ityartaha. Uktam cham Amalin Vijay, more or less it's kind of repeating, so I'm not getting into it. So there are two things which are clear. We have to try and attain that higher state, but there is this danger that we may get stuck in the middle. It's very pleasant, but it's not fulfilling. That is the warning sign. It's not fulfilling. That is not the ultimate stage. And that is not a full accomplishment of the goal that we had set for ourselves. And therefore, we shouldn't get stuck in the middle. That is what he's mentioning. Now, he's stuck there. Is there any chance that he can go to the higher stage? And beautifully he explains. Okay, so matrashu swapratyasandhane nastasya punaruthanam. Matrasu miyete anenaite matra. Matra sparsastu konteya. Matra there is what? Vishya sansarga. Right? Sukha dukkhada. Whatever we connect with in Vishayas, it can make us happy or sad depending on how we take it, digest it, what sense we make of it. It's hot summer, we are bad. Now it's winter, it's too cold, it's bad. So matrashu swapratyasandhane, that means Vishaya vargeshu, what is outside of yourself, because you are in Vyuthana Dasa, you are a little divided from your divine self. In that stage, how do you return? He's saying Swapratyaya Sandhane, you keep looking for yourself. You are doing Shiva Sandhana. Once you do that Shiva Sandhana, Nastasya Punaruthanam. What was Nasta? What you had lost, that ultimate meditation you have lost. And you quickly get back into it. The best example, again, if you remember your school days, so you had gone to a party, your mom says, we are going, one of your cousins is getting married, you want to go? You said, no, I have entrance, I'm preparing for it. But somehow they convinced you and you go there. And there, in that party where everybody is happily laughing and taking pictures and everything, when you meet another distant cousin of yours who has already cleared the examination, who is a batch senior to you, and so, oh, you met, you're preparing, or she's already there. Or really, you talk to her in 2 minutes. So, what all you prepared and this and that, and so suddenly she mentions a lot of books that one must prepare and how the question papers can be very difficult. Your party is spoiled, and you run back home. You are anxious. How can I go back to my study table? So, your marriage party, the birthday party that you wanted to be a part of, becomes your satsang, and then you are propelled back into your sadhana. That is what he's mentioning, Nastasya Punaruthanam. He's explaining how that happens. Arthat, okay, now he's saying, Yada yogi janaha turyatita chidrasa avastambhena avara prasare jatepi madhyapadam labhate tada. When this particular, this sadhaka, turyatita chidrasa avastambhena avara prasare, in that the fifth state he tried to reach, he couldn't. Fourth state he wanted to release, and there is a bit of avara prashava because other siddhis are manifesting in him. Jatopi madhyapadam labhate, he gets that middle state. Tada matra swapna swapratyaya sandhana nastasya punaruthanam. And each word he will explain. What is matraha? मियते अनेन इत मात्रा है, यू मापते हैं उससे, इसलिए उसको मात्रा कहते हैं. इतना मात्रा दवाई देना है. So matra essentially means certain units of how you connect with this external reality. Rupadayah Vishayaha. So the objects, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Sparsha, Savada, all these are these 5 Vishayas of 5 Jnanendriyas. Sarvatra. Then he's saying, Mahayoga Nishta Purushaha Samasta Vishwam Idam Ahamiti Pratyanusandhanam Teshu. In these Vishayas, Vishwam Sariram, Sariram Vishwam. We have done that earlier in the Saktopaya, also in the Bhairavopaya. So this yogi sees himself everywhere because it's a creation of him. And then he is in the ultimate transcendent state. He looks at his own body as also a very limited edition of himself, which is pure Shiva consciousness. He is able to have out of body experience. He also looks at the body as Drishya, not as Drik Chaitanya. He's saying, yeah, this is a body. I'm not this. I'm the universal self. Similarly, Idam Aham. You have Aham Idam. I am this. I am this. Then in the ultimate stage, in the beginning, you have Aham Idam. This division is there. That is what is a restricted human individual consciousness. When you are saying Aham Vishwam, that Idam, this becomes this whole cosmos. I am this cosmos. Why so? Because I'm pure consciousness. This cosmic reality is essentially an outward manifestation, appearance essentially, of that cosmic self, which I am. I'm not a human being, so there is no birth, there is no death. Once you have that sort of a thing, he's saying you see how to return to our samadhi. He's explaining this. Tasmin kale. So what he's saying, Mahayoginishta Purushaha Samasta Vishwam Idam Aham Iti. This whole cosmos is me. Pratyanusandhana Pauna Punyena. Again and again he is doing this kind of meditation. Avesha Sadabhavad. He is able to have that Avesha, that Mahabhava, he is able to establish. Avahitattvena Vimarshanam Karoti. Then he is doing that Vimarsha, that Vichara he does. Tasmin Kale, that means you see Vimarsha, he's not doing that Vichara because he is in some Vyuthana Dasa. uses that Vyuthana Dasa, that distraction, uses that distraction to return to his samadhi through vichara. It does contemplation. Tasmin kale, in that stage, Purva Sutrakta, what we have mentioned that Avara Prashavaha, Purva Sutrakta Veda, Prathyatmaka Sargat, Veda Prathatmaka. Veda Prathatmaka means dualized. You have I and me and this, and I'm experiencing it. I want this, I want that, all that. Veda Prathatmaka Sarga. Sargas means 60, whatever he has achieved. Vinastasya luptasya. Vinasta means nothing is destroyed. Luptas, you are not being able to see it. You have misplaced your passport. You haven't lost it. You have misplaced your password. You haven't lost it. If you don't remember, you have lost it. Password is nothing. You forgot it means you have lost it. If you are able to remember it, it's fine. You regain it. That's yours. And luptasya chidananda turya chamatkara rasa maya swabhavasya bhuyopi. Again, that for that ultimate divine Shiva consciousness and the bliss associated thereof that you are experiencing, which you are yourself, that bliss. Bhuyopi, again, aikya sampat. That particular, what is that privilege? What is um, that treasure that you regain? So you have a lot of, let's imagine, everybody's talking about it, so I'm giving this example. So you had millions of dollars in Bitcoin. You forgot that password. You had made a very complicated password. You have written it somewhere, and you had again encrypted that password, stored it somewhere, and that password you have changed, and you are not being able to regain that password. Your millions of dollars are gone. Remember, you are being able to recover this password where you have stored that password file. Then you open it, then you access all those millions of dollars. That is what he's explaining. He's saying Ekya Sampat. And what is that treasure here in our meditation? That unity of consciousness. That is that billions of dollars that you have in your Bitcoin storage, wherever, whatever that is. It's just a number, isn't it? So here it's the infinite which you are. That Aikya Sambit, Rupa, that is the Sampat, that is the wealth, that is the treasure. Paripurnatva Rupa Unmajana. Then suddenly it reappears again. It had got depressed, it had got submerged in some sort of a dualized consciousness or dualistic consciousness. You regain that unity. Avirbhava sanjayate, it reappears. Yathoktam Swachanda Tantre. In Swachanda Tantra, he's saying, Yasya Gyomaya Bhava Stiraha Purnaha Samantataha Manano Chalate Tasya Sarva Vasta Gatasyatu. Yasya Gyomaya Bhava Stiraha Purnaha Samantataha. That Gya, in that Gya means what? There is a Gyata, there is a Gya Bhava, there is a Gyana process of knowing. And he sees everywhere that particular Shiva Tattva, he is understanding, yeah, all this is Shiva, I have read it. Mano na chalati tasya sarva vastagatasya tu. So his mind doesn't run around because he's seeing Lord Shiva everywhere. The mind cannot take him anywhere to trouble him. Wherever he goes, he's there in Lord Shiva. Yatra yatra mano yati gyayam tatreva chintayet. He said, don't be. What is gyaya? Gyaya means what is worthy of being known. The physics, chemistry. No, it's fine. Apara Vidya. Ultimately, it's Atma Jnana. What is the Gyana thing? Is Shiva Tattva. Is that Parama Atma Jnana. So you do Chintana of this Parama Gyana Vastu in all that is around you. Chalitva Yasyate Kutra Sarvam Sirvamayam Yataha. Man Bhakyavika. Where can the mind go? Everything is Lord Shiva. So, we have studied a lot of stories as children that he went to this guru and the guru came and he had some questions and the guru didn't say anything, and when he came out of this guruji he had questioned and challenged him, but the guru had already done the sakti path, and therefore when he came out he saw Lord Krishna everywhere. He got scared. We have heard stories. The thief enters into the temple of Lord Krishna. He wants to steal some gold, but wherever he goes, whatever he picks up, he finds Lord Krishna is smiling in a corner, he's watching him. This is a basically metaphoric story, but it's essentially about highest level of sadhana. Stealing something is trying to connect with the lower level realities. Stealing gold. Is gold the ultimate thing? When Lord Krishna is there, what is superior to him? Now, suddenly, the emergence of that supreme consciousness, which is lurking at the background, with that sort of thing, even if you go, you call up somebody, okay, and you are going to talk to somebody, you're going on some kind of a conversation, some party somewhere, but you will not be able to commit any crime, you won't be able to deviate from your inner self. That will come and fight and stand in between. That is Lord Krishna standing in between you and that gold coin or that gold jewelry. Lord Krishna, what is that Krishna? Krishna is nothing, your Swarupa thing. That Swarupa Chintana, which was there as sanskara, it appears. You cannot be a thief because you are not a thief. You cannot connect with a low reality when yourself deserves and aspires to connect with the higher reality, Lord Krishna consciousness. Therefore, you see Lord Krishna everywhere. Similarly, he's saying what we have studied in the stories, he's saying actually the sadhaka should do this and look for Lord Shiva, everything around him that he sees. You know, there is this story that once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to this towards the sea beach at Puri, and he was very depressed and confused. He wanted to leave Puri temple and went onto the sea beach, and there somebody was, beating the mridangam. Yes, and he looks at that mridangam. You have that white, that particular leather thing, and then you have a black spot there around his one. He sees the eye of Lord Jagannath, and he faints. He is able to see the eye of Lord Jagannath in that drum with Thakur. He was taken to Alipur Zoo. Poor fellow shouldn't have gone there. He went there and he saw the lion and he fainted. People thought he got scared. No, he saw Ma Durga. So because he saw Ma Durga and he suddenly he got some, he suddenly reemerges in yourself, connects with that supreme reality, and when he reconnects, he faints. And that is what happens. Similarly, what we have studied in these siddhas or avatara purushas, we should practice it. What is it? Look for Shiva everywhere. Look for that Atma Tattva everywhere. He's saying, Yatra yatro monayati gyang tatreva chintet. Wherever your man goes, don't try to control your mind. Let the mind go. And then you put there Lord Shiva. You remember, wherever they go in the Ishavasya Upanishad, for example, you have studied, wherever they go, Atma is already there. All these devatas they are going, the Indriyas are going, but the moment they're there, Atma is already there. That Atma thing, because it's all pervasive, it's the supreme, infinite, all omnipresent reality. Your eye can go 10 meters, 20 meters. Okay, you have a Hubble telescope, it'll go millions of years, light years. What is beyond that? Brahma eva. Wherever you go, it's already present. Tam ejat, tam anejat. So it moves, it doesn't move. It's already there. Wherever you go, it's already there. Similarly, you look for that Shiva Tattva everywhere. Evam vidhasya mahayoganishta purushasya mana eva paratvatika bhavanaya. So this kind of a very seriously person invested in this Atma Chintana, bhavitam turyadita padam gyem sarvasu jagaradi dasasu, in his waking state. Jagaradi means Swapna and Susupti included. Paramarshanam karotyeva, he is looking for Paramashiva. So even in his dream state, he might see a nightmare, he might see a very embarrassing situation. He might see that you might be seeing in your dream once in a while that you are walking in the market not properly dressed. Okay? But you have that Shiva consciousness. Are you affected? You're absolutely not affected. You see, there's some people say if you see yourself naked in your dream, it's actually about your spiritual identity. Free from any kind of garbage, any kind of dress. Because these are all coverings. So there are different ways to look at it. So in your dream state also, that spirituality will inform your dream. Your dream, which was supposed to be a distraction, becomes an instrument of your sadhana for the sadhaka. For the sadhaka, when the dream becomes an instrument, it's an extension of his meditation. Similarly, when we were preparing, if you remember, during our exam times, university days or college days, you remember, sometimes you are trying to solve a problem. Many times it must have happened with you, it has happened with me. There's a problem you are not being able to solve. And you are frustrated, you go to sleep. Actually, you solve it in your dream. You see the steps on. This is where I'll break it like this. And suddenly your dream sleep breaks and you finish it. And this is how it is done. You are trying to write a couple of pages, you are stuck somewhere, some kind of issue, the subconscious mind. That means that the dream state becomes a controlled extension. Generally, it's an uncontrolled extension. It becomes a controlled extension for the sadhaka. Also, the susupti stage. Therefore, he's saying, Jagaradi dasasu paramarsanam karotyeva tathacha siva drishtu somananda padaha. Somananda, Shiva Drishti is a very philosophical text. So I thought we will do Shiva Sutra first because that is a little more philosophical. He's saying what? Shiva Bhavanaya Osadhya Badhe Manasi Sanskrite Kastya Kudyadishu Kshipte Rasavat Shiva Hemata. Kasta Kudyadishu, a piece of wood, maybe wall, everything. Kshipte, all these distracted things which are separate from you. Rasavat Shiva Hemata. And you see, like, do you see gold? Let's imagine a piece of stone and it appears like gold to you. You see gold in it. Similarly, the Shiva Hemata, Shiva Rupa Hemata. Hemata is gold, but you see that golden reality, the most lustrous reality. You see everywhere. Shiva Bhavanaya Osadhya. How do you do it? You try to take that medicine. What is that? Shiva Chintana, Ishvara Chintana. That is the medicine. With that particular medicine, Badhe Manasi Sanskrite. So, this particular mind, Badhe Manasi, all this mind moves around, goes everywhere, connects with a lot of objects, but you are identifying Shiva everywhere. There is a beautiful story about Utpala Deva, the great commentator in the Kashmiri Saiva Darshana, that he was in a very deep Turyatita avastha and suddenly his sleep breaks. That meditation breaks, his eyes open. The moment it opens, he was sitting somewhere in Kashmir. So you have a lot of these flowers of these plants, some fruit plants, and they are sort of covering the earth in front of him. And you know what strikes him? He said, my God, the devotees have come and covered Lord Shiva with so many flowers. Where am I? What was I doing so far? Oh my God, I have forgotten my beloved Lord. He closes his eyes again and goes quickly back to that avastha. And then you have two kinds of students in the classroom where there is some noise, some cacophony, some music, whatever. There are two students. One guy looks away through the window to find out what's going on there. The other guy looks at that and immediately realizes that if that particular thing is going to pass through this, if I pay attention, I'll miss out on the next few steps the professor will do on the blackboard. So he becomes extra conscious, he pays more attention. So what is a distraction for an average person is an opportunity for his sadhana, for the sadhaka. Because for him, yeah, that's a challenge to get reunited with that supreme consciousness. So that is how the Shiva Sutra gives us a lot of handles to deal with our everyday problems, spiritual problems, not professional problems. So the spiritual problem that is mentioned here is what? That Kastya Kudyadishu Kshipte Rasava Siva Hemata. And again he's saying Vishayeshu cha sarveshu indriyartheshu cha sthitam. Vishayeshu, sarveshu vishayeshu. What are the vishayas? Indriyarthas. What are the objects of your jnanendriya? Sense, you have your sensory perception. Yatra yatra nirupyeta nasibam vidyate kuchit. Wherever you see. Is there anything where there is no Shiva Tattva? Is there anything where there is this Jnanam, Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta Brahma is not there? Everywhere this Shiva Tattva, everywhere this Paramashatya is there. We are not being able to see it. Okay? He's saying, Iti Swachandra Sastra Manusritya Sarveshu Bhogya Vastusu. Whatever are the Bhogya Vastu, and you see yourself as a Bhokta, Bhokta and Bhogya, that dualism is creeping into your consciousness, but you are reuniting with that Drik Chaitanya by going beyond it. Stitopi yo yogi janaha, the sadhaka, vicharyeta, the one who meditates, does vichara, yatra kutrapi na asya krite, asivam asti, wherever the mind goes, whatever he connects with, there is nothing which is ashiva, which is not Paramashiva, Pratyuta, however, Sambit Prakasagana Sivekatmekena Pashyati. He sees everything as Lord Shiva. And therefore, that's why a lot of people say these people are doing Sankirtan isn't it very disturbing for a yogi? I mean, for anybody who will go to a Hare Krishna thing and they're dancing and all. They are actually using it to reunite it with Lord Krishna. These are techniques. You see Lord Krishna everywhere. So for them, dance is a dynamic meditation. But the one who doesn't know, so even our everyday life can be a source of inspiration to reunite. But I tell you, this is theory. How we translate that into practice in different phases, is possible. But if we are steadfast in our practice, these things play out rather easily. Then imagine, then Bhagavan says, Dure Chantikecha in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever is very hard for a very average student, for a brilliant student, is very easy. Similarly, whatever is unimaginable for a very average sadhaka is easily surmountable, easily achievable for a guy who is making a deep entrance into it. So I'll stop here. I have